no time, I'm traveling, I immediately need a burger. That's why probably I'm stopping at McD and not any other place. So the company did not realize this. The company thought that if we have a better product range, we will have better sales. When they started to experiment with products, as you said, that time increased. So the people started taking more time. And thereafter, what happened that the service processes went slow. So what customer was getting in 2-3 minutes, now they were getting in 7-8-10 minutes. And that kind of patience they did not have because that they did not expect from MACD. So here I am making a change without studying and without knowing the customer. This could happen in products also. You know the case of Nano, how Nano failed. What was the most important issue with Nano?
They were placed as a cheapest car, and people don't like to
Cheapest
associate
car.
themselves with the cheapest possible car.
It was
They don't like
positioned
to
as cheapest
associate
car.
themselves.
So the
People don't
company
like.
experimented, yes. So company did several things with Nano that without knowing what is the psychology of the Indian consumer. And ultimately it became a poor man's car. So people were buying motorbikes, motorcycles, 70,000, 80,000, 2 lakhs. They were not buying a Nano. I saw people buying second-hand cars and not a Nano. So nobody would like to have a car outside their house that is labeled as a poor man's car. That will not work in Indian situation. So very often, quality gaps arise in services because the company never studied customer expectations and they went on their own. So as a marketing person, as a product person, as a strategic marketing person, your outlook should be always to the outside. What exactly does my customer expect from me? And do you think expectations change?
Yes, sir. All the time.
Yes, ma'am.
It's a dynamic concept. So as your consumer matures, as the environment changes, expectations change. That is why market intelligence research is so important. So you will have to have your in-house team or you outsource the research, but you should always be aware what exactly is your customer buying. Why is he buying your product? What benefits, what attributes he is exactly looking at? So that is called as the most important gap that a company is working without really understanding what the customer expectations are. That could lead to a lot of problems in quality. So understanding the customer, that is written in green, is the first gap. So then where else could problems be? Second stage, I have studied expectations and still I feel that my customers, still I find that the satisfaction scores are not good enough. Can there be any more issues with an organization? I know my customer, I know that, yes, this is what they want. Still, my satisfaction scores are not improving. What could be the reason? So that if you know, then you are talking about the second gap. So what could be the second step? I know my customer, or what is important after that?
Management of perception of customer expectations.
Yes.
And what you might be trying to deliver to the customer, the
Yes.
expected quality, they might not be perceiving that in the same breath. There might be a dissonance between the customer and the service that you are providing.
That's good, but that's a gap that comes later.
Can it be
Anybody can
Okay.
try. Anybody else can try.
customer satisfaction or delight?
Yeah, so I know my expectations of my customers. Still, if my satisfaction scores are not good.
And
So
your
one area
satisfaction.
that he said is that probably it is happening at the delivery level. Probably it is happening at the understanding of the customer aspect. What else
Um,
could it
you're,
be?
you're thinking that you're delivering the service, but your service does not match the standards that a customer might be expecting or might be expecting from a similar level of services somewhere else. For example, you go to a
Yes.
Burger King and you expect a service that you might expect from a similar restaurant, but you don't get a service like that. So that would
But
lead
then
to
logically,
gap.
say if somebody has studied expectations, logically, then what they should be doing?
They should
Now,
be fulfilling
naturally,
it, man.
we have studied expectations, we would have identified gaps. Then logically, what should you be doing?
You should
Design a
at least
strategy to conduct, to design a strategy
To design your systems, to improve your
according
should have
system.
to improve, to
whatever happens,
improve, to,
whatever happens, you should have a basic minimum level of service standard.
So what she said is like, I've studied my expectations, I have identified the gap. Now I have to incorporate it in design. So as
yes,
I am
ma'am.
designing my processes, see SOPs, standard operating processes, are very important in case of services. I know that customer expects that my phone calls should be picked up fast. But here, fast means what? As a service operator, as a service outlet manager, or whatever position, now you have to translate this fast. You will have to quantify. Fast for the customer means what? 2 rings, 3 rings. What exactly is meant by fast?
There
Your
could be a lot
staff
of things.
has to be responsible. Now, what exactly is meant by responsiveness? Now, I am calling to a health center. I am already ill. I am under stress. I begin to ask a lot of questions from the receptionist. So, responsiveness to what extent? Is the receptionist supposed to answer all my queries? No, he is only a receptionist. The technical part they are not supposed to deal. Now, as a service provider, you will have to prepare the SOPs for every such moment of truth. Wherever the customer is coming in contact, last time we had studied, those points we label as moment of truth, and will have to set up SOPs. So I will have to instruct to my
Required. So the turnaround time required for the service quality diminishes.
what a question I am asking is that after design, the delivery is a issue, right?
Yes, sir.
So have you come across some place where the delivery is not happening, and what can be done to improve upon it? So first question, let us deal. So as okay, I will put it in another way that there could be a setup where people are not able to answer. So responsiveness is a big issue in today's time. That people have a lot of queries, and your staff is not able to handle that many queries. So my standard operating procedures are in place, but my staff, it is a majority of the time, this problem comes either because your systems are not aligned, or either because your staff is not sufficiently motivated, engaged, or trained. Say, for example, I don't know if you remember last year, somewhere it happened in Bombay, that there was a family which went to a hospital to meet an elderly. So somebody had in the family had a heart attack, and this particular family went to meet this elderly person in the hospital. So entire family went, and with them there was a grandparent also who had gone. So when they went and reached back to their home after going to the hospital, they met and then they went home. And they realized that the grandfather was not there. I don't know if you heard about it. And everywhere then they searched. Still, the elderly could not be found. And finally, they went back to the hospital, asked the hospital people to open a couple of washrooms, and there he was found dead. So why do you think this happened? Did you understand the whole scenario?
Yes, ma'am.
So this
I
person
mean,
was found dead in the hospital's one of the hospital's washrooms. So how did it happen?
Negligence probably, or involvement from someone internal might be involved. I don't know.
It's not like a murder mystery, but it was. So the detailed investigation was done, and it was found that the hospital had a very standard operating process wherein uh, every floor there was an in charge security person who had to open the washroom in the night, check if there is anybody inside, and then close the washroom. On this particular floor, this XYZ security person did not do it. He closed the washroom without even checking if there is somebody who's locked inside. And unfortunately, this person was locked inside that day. He had a heart attack, and it's an actual case, and then he expired that day inside. Just because of negligence of somebody, in case of services, it could mean life of life of somebody. Like you just heard about that pizza boy who delivered pizzas and he was ill for 20 days. He was ill for 20 days. Just imagine. Don't you think the company would have given SOPs? They would have given. But this person just did not adhere to those SOPs and now creating such a mess in the entire city. So I know my customer expectations. I have my SOPs. The next step is that I will have to keep my people with me. So that is so important. Here, all your HR, all concepts related to employee engagement, motivation, training come in. How do I motivate? So it is not easy. In Indian situation, most of the time, this becomes the biggest challenge. So the next thing is that you see, first gap, customer, that is understanding the customer. Third is design. Fourth, in written in green, is conformance. So my staff, my people will have to conform to whatever standards I have put. So as a service setting, it becomes a major challenge. You will have to make it sure that down the line, people are doing what you are asking them to do. So yeah, this is a major challenge. If you when you begin to operate and you begin to work in a service setting, you will realize that people mix becomes a big challenge. That is why all people who are into marketing, they will have to be good in HR. So HR for us is very important. Both HR and finance and processes, everything comes in services marketing. So conformance gap is the next gap that you see. Now we come to the most crucial gap, that is slightly very conceptual to understand, and that is the last gap, that I am doing everything. That means I have studied expectations. I have put my SOPs also very properly. My staff is also doing what I want them to do. So everything is working fine. Still, if my customer says that they are not satisfied, then what could be the one more issue that could be there? That one more issue is like communication gap, as I think somebody already pointed out, that somehow I am doing everything, but I am not able to communicate to my customer. So somewhere there is a mismatch between how he is understanding you and what you are doing. So that is another gap that you will have to look into, that you will have to take into consideration, like say the nano case. So the customer just couldn't understand what the whole concept of nano was all about. They were expected something else, you were doing something else. You were not able to communicate it in a very efficient way, that it is a very cost effective car. Somehow you mismanaged the communication part. Rest all, everything is good. But the communication part, if it is not working well, then everything is a failure. Any other brand that you remember was sometime at one point of time failed to communicate correctly? So all your advertising comes here. So how effectively am I able to communicate? It is so important for the success of my brand. So where have you seen such failures happening?
BlackBerry.
How BlackBerry?
Recently only we were taught that BlackBerry communicated the value wrongly, as they opened the market for everyone, and so that's the reason the sales dropped. Because from a, I mean, purely business perspective phone, they dropped down to even teenagers, and that's why the communication of the value was not proper, and that's the reason it failed.
That's very good. So what exactly is my phone supposed to do? So BlackBerry was such a good phone. I think the brand and everything, image, even if you study today, everything would be so good. But still, why it failed? The reason could be that I am putting my phone in hands of somebody who doesn't really need, who will not be able to appreciate. So STP. So that is why the whole concept of STP that you have been taught, whether it is in products or whether it is in services. Every time our object should not be to increase market share. At times we do it, increase the market share, and we kill our own brand. That happened with Cielo. Cielo was such a nice car. I think introduced at a price point of around 5 lakhs, right? And then after 1 year of its launch, they reduced the prices by 1 lakh. And then what happened? People who already had purchased, they were very offended, they were highly dissatisfied, and they began to write letters to the company. Now company tried to handle this entire scenario by writing individual letters to the consumer. Nothing could be managed. Consumer satisfaction went down so much that now you don't see the brand around you at all. So everything about the brand is good, but if I fail to communicate, there could be so many issues. Benetton in India is another retail outlet. Worldwide, it is a success. In India, just just the population is not able to understand what this Benetton is all about. Initially, they came with high-end products, and gradually to expand market share, they began to add pret lines. Pret lines means lesser price products. The whole perception of the consumer was altered. Consumer became confused what this brand is all about, and they stopped buying from the brand. So people who were already buying, they stopped. New consumers were not added because they never understood what this brand is all about. So many cases you see around. Say Fab India. Now Fab India, there is a recent strategy that they are adding some. Can they add synthetic garments to increase market share?
No idea, ma'am.
You know what Fab India is all about? Have you read the case study Fab India anytime?
Me personally, no.
See, Fab India is into ethnic apparel, and the sales is so much that I think just last year they surpassed even Zara in the turnover. So they were selling more than the turnover was more than Zara. So that was the kind of money they were making. But it is into ethnic apparel. So the case was about like, can they go into synthetic apparel? So that was what was one alternative before the management. That now growth. I cannot be satisfied with whatever number of outlets I have. Now, how do I grow? So one alternative is, can I use semi-synthetic material? So what do you suggest to an outlet like Fab India? Can they ever go for semi-synthetic material?
They might, but it needs to be really
They
communicated. But I
shouldn't.
think they should not. Most
They
likely,
should or they should not?
they would have to reinvent the brand itself to expand. People, a lot of
Yes.
brands do that. They reinvent themselves over a period of time, but as of now, probably not.
No, it is a definite no. Unless you come with a different brand altogether, this is just not possible, because this will kill your the original brand. So people who are loyal, they will also stop buying. The moment I buy Fab India 2000 rupees dupatta, I am expecting absolute ethnic from it, absolute handloom, something that is handcrafted. And if I see it is not there, next time I will not go. So that is an absolute no. Same is the case with Starbucks. Can Starbucks espresso be launched? Can you ever have a concept like this? Can what is how people are going to look at it? That means a Starbucks fast. Like some people say, why doesn't Starbucks begin to deliver at home? Why don't they have an espresso service where fast Starbucks can be served? Do you think it is possible? Now there is a new generation that is there. No, then that is also a kind of a customer. That's also a clientele of Starbucks, and these are young people who want the coffee fast. But can Starbucks do it?
They probably should not.
They are not able to do it. That will bring in more money in the long run, but what will happen? You will damage your brand. Starbucks, what is the logo of Starbucks all about? Have you seen the logo? Anybody else who can try? What is there in the Starbucks logo?
Ponytail mermaid is there, man. But I don't remember the story behind it.
Anybody else? What is Starbucks all about? What is the brand value? No, your logo and your colors represent your brand value. So what is the value there?
It's a queen, I think, on the logo. So it shows royalty, I think.
Yes, so it's a princess. So they tell you that we treat you like a princess or like a prince, or we treat you royally, to put it in simple words. Now, royally means what? Leisure, right? Something that is so fast cannot be royal. What is the service aspect when you are espresso outlet? So for the time being, you still see that they are not doing it. So this is a research that came out. All surveys were done. Starbucks identified that there is a group of young customers who want it fast, but the moment they do it, they will kill their own brand. And they lose their own loyal, patriotic customers who like to spend time in their outlets. So still you see people just spending time 1 hour, 2 hour, and nobody will tell them to leave, because that is what this whole brand concept is all about. Starting from the logo, from the colors, from the way people understand. You have over years developed a positioning, you will have to stick to it. Positioning is something that is strategic, that cannot change so fast. And the moment you begin to change it, what will happen? Sales will go down, you will lose your customers. Loyal ones also, and you enter. So is this whole story clear to you? So these are the gaps that are there, and as a service setup, you will have to take care that at every point these gaps don't arise in your service setting. Any questions? So first gap is arises because I don't know my customer. Second gap arises that I know, but I failed to incorporate into my SOPs what he wanted. I have not done it. So design part, everything has a design. See, everything. You
Yes.
are conducting exams, you have a design, right? Without designs, nothing work in case of services. Then you have to do what? You will have to train your team for conformance. Now for conformance, if there is a problem with people, nowadays robots are available. So chatbots. Look at how insurance is using chatbots to handle queries. So routine queries are being handled by chatbots because people get angry, people get agitated, people cannot work 24/7. So why not let a robot handle it? So as easy as that. So instead of people, many a times in case of services, you could be interacting with a robot. People today have no time to wait. They want quick answers to their queries. Everyday risk updates also people want. So how does an insurance company keep updated? Yeah, share so much information. So with the use of algorithms, with the use of robots, you are handling this kind of all these processes, and thereby ensuring that you conform to whatever standards you have set. If people are not able to do, let machines do. And the last gap is there, that how have you communicated with your customer? So that communication part, through all your strategies, through all your 7Ps, what exactly are you communicating? Are you creating confusion, or you are making things simpler for people? If you create confusion through your strategies, every other day you alter your pricing, every other day you launch a new product. Now, what is your brand all about that the consumer fails to understand? And remember, if that happens, there is bound to be an issue with your product. So all these gaps together, we call this as service quality gap analysis model. So if somebody is asking you the gap model, this is the gap model. And at every stage, you will have to ensure that there is no gap. Whenever you study any case of a failure, you will see that at one point or the other, you would be able to find out from this model that this is where the brand had made a mistake. Now, what I have given you after this is the case study of Bajaj Allianz.
Ma'am, I have a
And
question.
how? Yes, very good. Please ask.
No, ma'am. So this question is regarding the both examples of Fab India and Starbucks that you gave just now.
Yes,
So as you said, Fab India going into synthetic will lose its market, and Starbucks selling its coffee fast also will lose its glamour and its positioning of its market. So
Mm-hmm.
is that why Fab India has now gone more indulgence into their service and have gone into opening of studios where they provide more of ethical emergence for the customers with organic foods and organic material that the customer can buy along with the ethnic wear. And is that why Starbucks is giving you a free co-working space with Wi-Fi and allowing youngsters to do their work while they wait for their coffee? And in this way, is there a marketing jargon for this, or is this strategy a specific strategy that is being used by both of these folks?
Yes, yes, definitely. So if you have read, I don't know if you have read Ansoff's growth metrics. Have you read Ansoff? ANSOFF. Did you read it last year?
Partially,
No.
Yes or no? I didn't get it. Ansoff's
yes,
growth
ma'am.
metrics. Yes, very good. So, so I will ask you now. So imagine that you are the strategic management team of Starbucks, and you see competitiveness around you increasing. Now every other day new competitors with equally competing formats are there. Growth is a challenge. Now looking at the Ansoff strategy, what do you think is the best possible solution in case of a service setup? Would it be market development? Would it be diversification? Would it be integration? Or do you think it could be product development? So those are those that is a nomenclature of strategies that we have in marketing, and that is market development, right? Same product I am taking to different markets. Product development, same customer I am offering different products. So for a service setting, what do you think you recommend most? Everything is same. It is
Market development will be more suitable, ma'am. Trying to enter with the new markets with the same product, or trying to penetrate the market itself with the existing products.
Yes, market
I'll
development.
go with product development, ma'am.
Yes, the market development can
yes.
change
So yes,
for well-established products like Starbucks, but for Starbucks only
yes,
it will work because we can't reach out to the poor people with Starbucks coffee. So that's why product development.
yes, yes. So penetration is out. For certain case, some products it is possible. For services, it is not like I put it on discount. And Starbucks, at once in a year they have 100 rupees Starbucks, and there are rows and lines and queues of customer. Have you purchased 100 rupees Starbucks coffee?
No, ma'am.
Did you see
No.
the scenario when Starbucks
Yes, ma'am.
was offering for 100?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, there was
And
a
One,
lot
every
of
other
rush.
day,
one
there
thing,
was a
one thing,
terrible rush. Till 12 in the night, there were queues of people buying Starbucks. But that is only for one day,
one
right?
thing that we have to understand that Starbucks is following a different strategy in this country. In other countries,
Yeah.
this strategy might not work. It has placed itself in the premium section of the market, so they cannot reduce their prices. And they started
Yes,
in the
so that
market,
is
the
only
prices were not.
that's what I'm saying. That is only for one day.
Yeah,
So penetration is out for a services. In case of services, it is difficult. It is challenging. So what strategy we recommend mostly in case of services, as because we don't have time, I have to answer the question. It is product development. So you see, Fab India follows the strategy of product development. Product development means what? Do you remember what is product development?
Yes, ma'am. Offering the same product to no, of increasing the product base for the customers. Like if the customer is coming in for,
Very good.
I would also give him Wi-Fi.
Yes, yes, that is good. So for the same customer who is coming in your outlet, you increase the range of services. So you have more offerings, you add product lines in such a way that different needs of the same consumer are satisfied. That is a very good answer, and that is called as the strategy of product development. So same is the case of Starbucks, that instead of going out to different people, which is the case of market development, what I do, I don't reach out to different segments, but for the same segment, I try to satisfy different needs. So they can buy herbs from my place, they can buy some soaps, they can buy some cosmetics also from my place. They can buy clothes and all other accessories also. And now they have added a Fab India cafe also. So that together makes a Fab India experience center. So this is the strategy that is available. So very rightly asked that yes, Starbucks and Fab India both are following the strategy of product development, because market development and other strategies, if I do it, then I don't see, because I have a very well defined image of my brand. So that kind of expansion is very difficult. So that strategy is applicable depending upon what kind of brand and what kind of positioning you have. So if you can go for market development, that's great, because that is most cost effective. But if you have a brand that has fixed and defined values, then at times you will have to look into different aspects, and then only you can change the core value proposition of your brand. So strategically looking at it, you should not be altering the core much. So better strategies go for growth, you will have to go for product development, because growth is important. Same market, same situation, I cannot remain stagnant. So I will have to think about growth. Most of the time in case of services, you will see product development as a strategy. Any other question? That was a good question.
I want to ask you a question. You're
Yes,
talking about the communication gap number four.
yes,
You
yes.
must have seen that Amazon claims to be the most customer-centric company in the world. And if
Yeah.
you have a problem, if you order something and your order is not up to the expectations, you contact them. Even if they don't understand what you want,
Uh-huh.
they will refund you. So
Uh-huh.
how are they handling this gap, the communication? Even if the communication is not effective between the customer service executive and the customer itself, they're able to handle it effectively.
Now, are you talking about Amazon?
Yes, ma'am.
So they replace, right?
Ma'am. They replace even if they don't understand you. For example, you are trying to make them understand what your issue is. You might be facing some kind of issue with the product, and
Yes.
even if they don't understand or agree, it might not be part of their standard operating procedure, or they will go ahead and
Mm.
do something about it. So that goes beyond this
Yeah, but that
to an extent.
you see, for a retailing company, that is all. I mean, why should they go beyond it? My job is
They do,
only
ma'am.
to deliver. If people are not happy, I replace it.
I'm just asking you that we are discussing that there should be standard operating procedure should be there and the quality should be there. But some companies are going even beyond that.
Now, I'd like to answer that question if may. Hello.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yes, I think any online retail company, for this instance, the subject matter Amazon, has
Yeah.
to do and go out and refund or replace the product, because that was how the base of trust started when an online company like Flipkart started. People knew that even if
Mm-hmm.
they don't like, or if they have some problem, they can replace and retail it. So to maintain this trust of buying in online retail, I think they do that. Cost of doing that is very low than losing a customer completely. So I think that is why they replace without even understanding or wasting more time on it.
So that is what, see, that's how Amazon has differentiated. So they will have to continue doing it at whatever cost. Now
Yes,
Amazon
ma'am.
cannot go back on whatever they have done. Why they don't, that is not, see, understanding the issue and problem is not their job. Their job is just to deliver. If you are not happy, they will give it back to the company. So it's kind of a marketplace model where they are only they are only putting it all together and helping in delivery. So what is the product all about? What your issues are? How to tackle your issues? That is not exactly what their job is. So that is good. But in the long run, what is happening is that they are pampering customers, and the impact is negative. It is impacting all sectors, that customer feels really too much pampered. So those are other repercussions of what Amazon is doing. But yes, it's a good question that it is also a SOP that they will have to do it. Same is with every other good company has such SOPs that you will see. Any other question?
No,
So how much time we have for today left?
8 minutes approximately for this session.
So here, if you come to this house of quality, now these intermittent slides, they are like how to ensure quality in your systems. One case is there, Bajaj Allianz. You can read, you will be able to understand. If you have doubts, you can ask me.
Skip a
And
slide of expectations and perception.
yes, so slide number 40, you can come straight to house of quality 49.
Gap number 5, I think we skipped customer expectations and perception.
Yes, so that we talked about. Expectation perception, first time when we were studying, that you will have to understand what the customer expectations are. Accordingly, you will have to formulate your perceptions. Now here, did you study Kano's model last time? Anybody who has studied consumer satisfaction in detail? It was a topic last time. Did you happen to study the Kano's model?
Yes, ma'am, we have studied the Kano's model.
Very good. So what does Kano's model say? What is the essence of the model?
Product development.
So it basically shows the satisfaction level of a customer. So there are some things in a product that are necessary, some things that adds value to the product, and some things, some features that are that creates delight in the customer. So Kano has differentiated these three things that a product should have.
Very good. That appears that you have studied marketing quite nicely.
One
Normally,
more thing.
people.
Yeah.
That's good. So,
I'm
if you look at a service, yes, you are answering.
I was asking, ma'am, Thomas model studies this into dimensions, which is on satisfaction, customer satisfaction, and the product service performance. Based on that, some product service performance, one of the quadrants of that is unspoken, unexpected, unknown, which are called devices, and
Hmm.
other are desired quality, which are one dimensional. And
Mm-hmm.
from the third quadrant would be expected quality.
Mm-hmm. So, application of the model is what?
Ma'am, application I have read somewhere that it said that don't put everything in one box. I mean, like you shouldn't put all the eggs in one box. You should always keep creating differently at different points of time. I mean, keep developing a product over a period of time and not all at once.
The application of the model is, say, I have a service, like say I have a hotel. I am managing a hotel. I am a GM of a hotel. Now, once I have want to study expectation, perception, Kano's model, and so on, I will have to break the service into attributes, right? And if I begin to plot the attributes on a two-dimensional graph, I will come across, if I use two axes, one I am measuring the outcomes, and one I am putting all my service, and on one hand I have performance. So if you look at, say, if my service has, say, 30 attributes, I should be able to segregate that these are the attributes where if I increase the input, the output will also increase. So if I keep on improving their performance, satisfaction will keep on increasing. So this way I will have to segregate. Some attributes will be where if you increase the perception, if you increase the performance, after a point the satisfaction will not increase. Now some of them are like hygiene factors. If you look at Herzberg's theory, some factors are hygiene factors, right? Even if I keep on improving, satisfaction is not bound to increase. Then there are certain others which my customer doesn't require at all. So I should not be investing in those. For all my hygiene factors, up to a certain point only I should invest. Beyond that, I should stop investing. My focus should be on my most important attributes, where if I increase performance, satisfaction will increase. So, how this comes into this, that I should be for my service setting aware that what does my customer expect, which attributes I should focus most upon, which attributes I should focus moderately upon, and which are ones where I need not focus at all. Every setting, every service setup has at least these three that you would be able to take up. So, satisfaction, expectation, perception, that entire dynamics you have to understand. That is the fifth gap that we have been talking for a lot of time. So, I didn't repeat that unless I know expectations, I will never be able to perform. So it takes you back to the Kano's model. Understand the attributes, segregate the attributes, accordingly invest in different attributes. So have you reached house of quality? This is a house of quality, is the 50th slide. Please read this and come next time. So next time when we have the class, that would be the last class on quality. Thereafter we will take pricing. So house of quality, you read it and then come. What is this chart all about? And what is the importance of putting it all together like this? Any other question, anybody? So next class, we are again going to start with questions, and then we are going to wind up with discussion on this, and that will complete your quality. It's the most important topic in service.
Now, one more thing we should probably consider, which is not related to your subject, is that
Yes.
using Zoom is not safe anymore. There are lots of issues that are coming from this app.
You see, as of now, we have only this alternative. We are working on others. As soon as we have something in place, we will shift. But we cannot, as of now, stop classes.
Okay, ma'am.
For our other university work also, we are all using Zoom. Unless we are sharing very private information, I think it is quite safe. So, but still, I have left it open to individual choice. Anybody else can use any other mode of teaching also.
Okay, ma'am.
These videos are
But as of now, for university different things, we had a meeting in the morning. Again, we use Zoom. We had a meeting with the vice chancellor. We use Zoom. Why? Because it's like nothing is confidential. Nothing no data, confidential information is being shared. Till that time, it is safe. Plus, when you close the meeting, you close it, lock the room when everybody has come. So those care we will have to take. We will have to close it properly. We should monitor who has entered in the room. Any unauthorized person should not be. Even if people come and sit, it's fine. Let them attend classes. That way, I don't think we are sharing anything confidential. So that way, we are safe.
Ma'am, the entire data is anyway on YouTube. So there's nothing.
My presentations and all for us as faculty, they are everywhere. So till that time and before anything becomes very serious like this, let us start completing all classes well in time, so that by next month mid we are fine, we are comfortable. But still we are working on other options, and the moment we have things in place, we will shift.
Any update on the examinations, ma'am?
Examinations would be online. 80% it has been decided. Not online, it would be MCQs.
Okay.
But they may be offline MCQs.